Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. It is your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing details. Today, we're discussing a lovely watch that was part of an interesting series of perpetual calendar divers marketed by Ulysse Nardin back in the 2000s. Sold in 2010. The example you see right here is the Ulysse Nardin Acqua Perpetual, 42.7 millimeters in diameter in stainless steel. It's 13.5 millimeters thick from lug to lug, just case, 46.1 millimeters, but if we include the end links of the bracelet, the total distance across the wrist is 52.4 millimeters with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. We will pop the clasp open and throw this watch on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist and get a sense of it. Now, if you were to wear this watch on a strap, I believe you could wear it on a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference, maybe even 13 and a half, because the lug-to-lug span is incredibly narrow for a modern sports watch. But when you do add the end links to the bracelet, it becomes a little bit broader. So I think on the bracelet, you're going to want to wear it on a wrist of my size or larger, so 16 centimeters circumference and up. Surprisingly, it is not that thick, and it should slide underneath most dress cuffs. I happen to love the way this looks and fits. Taking a look at the bracelet, you can see it's an unconventional design. Though it has a 3-link basis, that's the only similarity to something like a Rolex Oyster. You can see that there are rolled profiles and scalloped hollows inside and in between these links. We've got an end link that conforms it to the case, and then we have profiles that are difficult to categorize. Unlike any other bracelet, really, we have removable links that are fixed in place by screws, and you can see we have irregular size links there. In case you find yourself in between link sizes, you can fine-tune the fit. We also have a fold-out dive extension, which is a rare feature on Ulysse Nardin dive watches. The clasp is both polished and satinated, and it features a thick gauge construction with a single swing arm design, and then a twin trigger release, so you have to press both triggers to release this clasp. It can't fly open due to violence on the wrist. Screw down crown, and the water resistance here, as you can see, blazing on the case back. 300-meter diver, fairly industry standard. And I thank Ulysse Nardin for not putting the depth rating on the dial, and I thank them twice for not putting it on the dial and equating 300 meters to 1,000 feet the way everyone else does. The bezel is polished outboard and features a wave-like striation inside with raised and relieved and polished calibrations. We'll do a loom shot real quick so you can see the watch in the dark. You line up the bezel pearl with the minute hand. Now you have a 0 to 60 minute count up timer. I always find a dive bezel is handier than a chronograph, easier to read, and it doesn't have the downstream service costs of a chronograph. Just to confirm, you can see this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 60 click bezel. And then a golf ball style dial. This is actually not what you think it is. It's not inspired by golf. It's inspired by the marine chronometers created by Ulysse Nardin from the 19th century through the early 20th century. And it was known for these deck clocks or navigation chronometers. A lot of its watches include elements of the marine chronometer design, including that sort of dimple-like profile, this dimple grid across the dial, and the individual numbering plate held on by blued screws externally. You can see fired screws outside, a case band that's all in high polish, and it's actually got a little bit of a concave tumble home to it. You can see that the lugs are broken out dramatically from the case band. This is nothing like an Omega or Rolex diver. Crown guard structures polished. On the dial, we have a media blasted satination, a matte finishing on the hands, which are skeletonized to allow easy visual access to the perpetual calendar, and a few well-chosen shocks of red with rhodium-plated steel applique indices, and upscale look. Now this features Ludwig Axelin's bidirectional perpetual calendar system, which he first brought to market on the Perpetual Ludwig in 1996 for Ulysse Nardin. Axelin cut his teeth as a horologist, restoring clocks for the Vatican, and a lot of these clocks had incredibly sophisticated calendars designed to calculate the vernal equinox and the start of Easter, and so this system is designed using the lessons he learned from that experience. You see I have a double-digit date, and I'm turning it in 2 directions. Only a bare handful of perpetual calendars can do that. Now you can also see that I drive the month forward and backwards as I make those adjustments. I've got a day, a double-digit date, a month, and a year and a decade. You can see right there, I can even adjust the year to read correctly. Though you cannot see it underneath the case back, we have a Ulysse Nardin caliber 33. By the way, take a look at the back. This lovely media blast with the UN nautical anchor, Acqua Perpetual, the company established in 1846. And look at these blued screws. Just as blued screws are used to fix that satinated and beveled individual number plate, we also have blued screws used to fix the case back to the watch, which I adore. So inside that caliber UN 33, automatic winding, distantly Lamagna based. It has a bidirectional pole-based magic lever winding system, automatically winding a 48-hour power reserve. It has a 4 Hz beat rate. It features the bidirectional quick-set system, though it does not have hacking. And it features the perpetual calendar. And this being a perpetual calendar, it can cope with irregular length months. It can cope with leap years. And because you can set it bidirectionally by yourself, it's one of the few perpetual calendars that will not need to go back to the factory for a correction in the year 2100, which by a quirk of the Gregorian calendar will not be a leap year. If you love this watch, reach out to me. I am Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.